Hi, Arcfieldweather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday morning, July 24th. A lot to talk about this morning. We have the first heat wave of the summer season so far, headed for the northeastern part of the nation for that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time period. It certainly can extend into Saturday as well. However, it certainly looks like that would be the end of it. This upcoming weekend looks like it'll present a cooler air mass coming across the Great Lakes into the northeastern part of the country. So even though, yes, it does look like the first heat wave of the summer season for places like Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, there's an end in sight already. It looks like, again, over the upcoming weekend, cooler air will push back into that part of the nation, and we'll focus in on that over the next several minutes. But I first wanted to start off by taking a quick look at the tropics. Here we are nearing the end of July, and certainly the Atlantic Basin tropical season tends to ramp up during the month of August. Climatologically speaking, it reaches a peak somewhere around the middle part of September, and then it slowly ramps down during the month of October. We have two systems out there right now. Don actually did reach hurricane status for a brief time. It is out over the open waters of the North Atlantic, not a threat to any landmass at this particular time. There's another system of interest down here in the central part of the tropical Atlantic. Looks like it'll head towards the Caribbean Sea over the next few days, and we'll have to watch what it does at that particular time. There's a chance it can strengthen, but even if it does not strengthen, there are some signs that there'll be a system right in this region, maybe during the first or second week of the month of August. So we'll have to monitor this system, and even if that falls apart, there may be another system to deal with in this part of North America as we get into the month of August. August begins next week, and certainly we'll have to keep our eyes out in the tropical area, not only next week, but the following week as well. As again, the Atlantic Basin tropical season tends to start really ramping up during the month of August. Well, before we talk about the hot weather coming to the Mid-Atlantic, the northeastern part of the nation for the second half of the week, we do have some showers and thunderstorms to deal with today, tonight, and tomorrow in the Mid-Atlantic region in the northeast U.S. This is a look at the current radar loop from the College of DuPage weather website. Already some showers and embedded thunderstorms across northeastern Maryland, maybe northern Delaware at this time, headed right towards the Philadelphia metro region, and a few other scattered showers now kind of widening their coverage over the south central part of Pennsylvania. There can be a shower or a thunderstorm at just about any time today, not just limited to the late afternoon or evening, any time today in the Mid-Atlantic region. The atmosphere is already unstable, and by the way, any one of these showers or thunderstorms, as per usual, can produce some heavy rainfall in the Mid-Atlantic region. Again, a lot of moisture around this morning. The weekend was quite comfortable with only moderate humidity levels and moderate temperatures, but again, more humidity available right now for an unstable atmosphere. And again, any one of these showers and thunderstorms can dump some decent rainfall amounts in a short period of time. Well, we've talked about the hot weather coming to the Mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S. for that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time period, perhaps again lingering into Saturday. But beyond that, it looks like no matter what happens on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame, it looks like cooler air will return to the Mid-Atlantic region, northeast U.S. over the upcoming weekend. We'll kind of see that here on the 500 millibar height anomaly maps. Here, these are averaged over a rolling 5-day period. This is the current 5-day period, and right now we have had this very intense high-pressure system aloft, pretty much centered over the Four Corners region over the last couple of weeks, producing some very hot weather from Texas to California, in the southwestern states as a whole. But notice here in the east, we have the reflection here of an upper level trough, and that has been the case, and that has kind of kept temperatures at bay in the Mid-Atlantic region in the northeast U.S. at normal to even below normal conditions here. We had a very pleasant weekend in the Mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S., but things will change, and we'll take a look at as to what should evolve over the next several days. We'll move forward here. Again, these are rolling 5-day periods, but watch what happens here by the time we get to days 3 to 7. Notice this orange area expands to the east, and that is really what's going to result in hotter air moving from the central part of the nation into the northeastern part of the nation. This high pressure ridge just tends to expand to the east over the next few days. So by the time we get to Wednesday afternoon, temperatures should reach well into the 90s in DC, Philadelphia, and New York City. Again, the beginning of a heat wave generally defined as 3 straight days of 90 plus degrees for highs. Looks like that will be the case Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in places like DC, Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston. Again, it could hold in the 90s on Saturday, but that looks like a transition day. Now watch, notice the orange here expanding into the Ohio Valley, allowing for that hotter air to expand into the north and east by the middle part of this week. Then we go out a little farther in time, and it kind of goes back to the the starting position here by the time we get into days 8 to 12 with that high pressure ridge near the Four Corners region and more of a troughiness showing up again over the northeastern part of the nation. It could actually go out on a limb here and say places like New York City and Boston may have this heat wave Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 90 plus degrees for 3 straight days. But beyond that, for the rest of the summer, it may be a struggle for the northeastern part of the nation to get back to 90 degrees for 3 straight days. Again, we have this upper level trough moving back in by the upcoming weekend or during the upcoming weekend, and it may have a tough time getting back to a heat wave status in Boston or New York City for the rest of the summer season. Now let's take a look at the 850 millibar temperature anomalies. This is all using, by the way, the GFS model. Prior set of maps was from the ensemble run. This is from the operational version, 0Z last night. Pleasant weekend over the Mid-Atlantic region, starting off today, starting off the work week with moderately warm temperatures, only maybe low to mid 80s for highs this afternoon. Lots of clouds, limited sunshine, and again, a shower or thunderstorm can occur at just about any time today. And again, any one of those showers or storms can produce some heavy rainfall. A lot of hot weather out across the western states. We saw that upper level high pretty much centered right here over the Four Corners region. Now, we'll get into the middle part of the week, and we saw the upper level ridge expanding to the north and east, and here we go. That will result in temperatures jumping in the northeastern part of the nation. This is by Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. Very, very hot over the central part of the nation. In fact, the hottest conditions relative to normal later this week will be right here across the heartland in the middle part of the nation. But again, that hotter air mass expands into the Mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S. Certainly by Wednesday afternoon with 90 plus degrees Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, D.C. to Boston. Perhaps the hottest day will end up being Friday with temperatures way up in the 90s, maybe even a flirtation with 100 degrees in some parts of that I-95 corridor. Here we go into the day on Thursday. Again, we're looking at 850 millibar temperature anomalies. Again, relative to normal, the worst weather will be across the heartland, the Mississippi Valley region later this week. Now we get into the day on Friday. Notice up to the north and west, kind of a wall of cooler than normal conditions pressing to the south and east across southern Canada. Here we are on Friday afternoon, still a hot day for sure, maybe even the hottest day of this stretch on Friday in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, Boston. But then we get into the upcoming weekend, though. Certainly will be a frontal passage during the day on Saturday. Could be accompanied by some heavy showers and thunderstorms in the northeastern part of the nation. And we go beyond that. And here we go. We get back to below normal conditions, Mid-Atlantic region and the northeastern part of the nation for the second half of the upcoming weekend. Well, now let's take a look at the surface forecast maps for the operational run of the GFS. And again, the atmosphere is already unstable. It will not require daytime heating to become unstable today in the Mid-Atlantic region. So in other words, a shower or thunderstorm can occur at just about any time. In fact, northeastern Maryland, northern Delaware getting hit right now. Philadelphia metro region should get some of that rain activity, maybe an embedded thunderstorm by the latter part of the morning. Any one of those showers or storms can produce some heavy rainfall. We'll see. We'll go through the period, and you see a lot of green here right through the period into the evening hours and even into the day on Tuesday. There still will be the threat of a shower or a thunderstorm in the Mid-Atlantic region. That kind of cuts down on temperatures, but it keeps it unstable enough for some clouds and maybe an occasional shower or thunderstorm, not only today and tonight, but that threat exists on Tuesday as well. Then we get into the day on Wednesday, and here's when some of that hotter air starts to reach the Mid-Atlantic region. And certainly there may be some places that reach 90 degrees on Tuesday, but the real heat wave begins on Wednesday. It looks like with temperatures at least in the lower 90s in that I-95 corridor region, and perhaps mid to upper 90s by the time we get to Thursday or Friday. Cannot rule out the chance of scattered showers or thunderstorms during that hot spell, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, especially well in the north and west of I-95 here. This is the Thursday forecast map, Thursday morning. Then we get into the Thursday evening. Again, an isolated to scattered shower or thunderstorm possible any one of these days later this week, even though it'll be very hot. Temperatures well up in the 90s. And then we get into the latter part of the weekend, and here is that frontal system I alluded to earlier, right here as of Friday morning. This has that cool high pressure system backing it on the south central part of Canada with cooler than normal air pressing to the south and east. So this may very well spell the end of this first official heat wave in the northeastern part of the country. Whether or not Saturday ekes out another day in the 90s is a little too early to say, but let's move forward here. This is the Friday morning forecast map, and here we go. By the time we get to Saturday, certainly there can be some heavy showers and thunderstorms along that frontal boundary zone early in the upcoming week and maybe late Friday night into Saturday as that cooler air starts to press to the east. Maybe a little bit of a low pressure area will form along that frontal boundary zone. Then we get all the way into the day on Sunday, and that Canadian high pressure takes over in the Mid-Atlantic Northeast U.S. So again, even though there is a heat wave very likely Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe even Saturday, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, the seeds for some relief are already showing up here with cooler than normal air moving back in sometime during the upcoming weekend. And watch out in the center part of the nation. Hottest conditions relative to normal will take place later this week across the center part of the nation. And then on the tropical scene, we'll start to monitor closely possibility of something somewhere in the western Atlantic later next week going into the following week. Those first couple of weeks of August may present a threat somewhere again in the western part of the Atlantic Ocean, maybe the Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean Sea. So that a lot going on right now. This has been meteorologist Paul Dorian for Arcfield Weather.com.